I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. We should be profiling, monitoring, and creating policies to fight the radicalization of white men.
Lady, why don't you just get out the Democratic Party? Honestly, start your own movement. Be running against white men. In fact, we don't think we ought to be running against any gender, any ethnic group, any race, any religion, or anything else. God damn, these people are just helpless. They cannot be helped. There's nothing you can do to help them. They don't want to be helped. And if they had any guts, they'd start their own goddamn political party and get out of ours.
So one of the most highly respected Democrats has come out and urging Ilhan Omar to leave the Democratic Party after she blasted white males. Now, this is going extremely viral all over the place recently, because this same strategist by the name of James Carville, who is a very nasty person, by the way, who hates Trump and has Trump derangement syndrome, has now called to purge and urge Ilhan to get out of the party. He's hitting the panic button. He is seeing exactly what a lot of people are seeing when it comes to Ilhan Omar, hating America and siding with Iran. So here's where things get pretty interesting, though, right? Because this man, again, he is not liked. I don't like this guy at all. So him saying this is very credible to the fact that he is a diehard Democrat. Watch what he says about his Trump derangement syndrome. And then Ilhan is hated so much by the guy who hates Trump. That's how you know how bad she is. Also, a lot of you guys are wondering, how is she still in Congress? How is this happening? Well, here's something I'll give you guys the breakdown on, because a lot of us have been talking about the future of the Democrat Party, but Nancy Mace exposed something about Ilhan Omar in Congress, right? How is she still in Congress? Well, here's what she exposed, and we got to talk about this, ladies and gentlemen. We have to talk about this. Here's why we got to talk about this. Because apparently, right, apparently, you have the Republican Party is protecting Ilhan Omar from accountability. Representative Nancy Mace says, I tried to subpoena her immigration records, her brother's husband immigration records, and it was Republicans that killed the motion. It's a uniparty, one big club. So I'll play this clip. We'll go into depth about it, because I know there's a lot of people that are going to watch this and be frustrated by Ilhan Omar. So let's go to James Carville slamming Ilhan Omar. And again, a man who has Trump derangement syndrome.
James, I want to talk to you about the other day. I saw you going off a little bit about Representative Omar, where you just told, I believe it was her, you just told her, leave the party. I mean, you know, I want to know where that came from, and when you speak in this with this level of frustration, can you enlighten us about what exactly it is that you're talking about and what got you so ticked off when it came to something like that?
Thank you. And by the way, I met her one time. And first of all, she's a very attractive, soft-spoken lady. I have a lot of friends in Minneapolis, and people think, a lot of people think well of her, but she started attacking white males. And I'm saying, wait a minute, let's stop. All right. In 2024, 72% of the people that voted were white. All right. That's just a fact. Of that 72, probably 48% or 48 and a half were male. So it's somewhere around, I did the math on the thing, about 33% of the people that are going to vote are going to be white males. Well, it's stupid to attack 33% of the voters.
Right.
That's not, you don't want to start there. You know, what you try to do is you start and you build up. And so what I would say to Congressman Omar, why don't you be a Democratic Socialist of America? Do what AOC did. But don't, and if they win, the truth of the matter is, I share a lot of ideological issues in common with Congressman Omar, but maybe you should do like a parliamentary government.
So again, this guy is a political consultant. This is who the Democrats lean on when they run in elections. They hire this guy. This guy's very important. He's top strategist. James Carville is a political strategist who, again, is calling out Democrats, including Ilhan Omar, for bashing the white male vote. Now, know there's a lot of Hispanics, a lot of different races that watch me, but there's a lot of white males that watch me. Shout out to you. If you're in the comments, make sure to comment down below. But Ilhan Omar, attacks white people all day and then marries a white man. Isn't that crazy? So James Carville, he's like, yo, listen, Democrats, I just saw what happened to, guess who? Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett lost her election because white people and Hispanic people who are Democrats decided to say, no, yeah, we're not voting for you. I'm not going to vote for you, right? I have this video here. Who you guys got to see this, right? We'll go back to Ilhan, but I think this is very important. This is a Hispanic woman from Texas who is a Democrat who did not vote for Jasmine Crockett. So James Carville is now fearing that the Democrats are thinking of throwing somebody like Ilhan into maybe a future governor, maybe a future mayor. I don't know. She can't be president, but she could be, somebody big in the Democratic Party. And James Carville say, no, you're attacking people. And this is what happens when you attack them. You become Jasmine Crockett, who gets cooked in the election by those white voters and Hispanic voters who are in a different party.
Oh, no. What do you mean? Jasmine not going to Congress for Texas? Oh, Crockett. A girl can only dream. Listen, Jasmine, what was that one quote that you said? Let me think. Oh, yeah. We done picking cotton. You can't pay us enough to go find a plantation. Yeah, you remember that. I remember that. How could I forget? See, 6.5 million Hispanic voters in Texas, which is like the majority of the electoral vote here in the state. And you mean to tell me that you think that we're still picking cotton? Hell no, girl. Hell no. That's why you lost. You're fucking racist. I'm gonna tell you something real quick. If you would have pitched that in 2002, 2001, you probably could have gotten like a good drift. However, that was people in the past. Those kids that I grew up with that were chasing a field every summer, every spring with their parents, moving school to school because they had to go pick fruit with their parents, are now grown up. And guess what? Do you think that they're going to go back to picking fields when they have a citizenship?
So, okay, there you have it. You get my explanation for why James Carville, who is a very Trump-deranged, I got to keep saying that, very Trump-deranged strategist who his whole career is now being anti-Trump. Here is the video of Ilhan Omar that he is talking about, right? Ilhan Omar sits up there and she says, this is what she says. She said, our country should be more fearful of white men. Take a listen.
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. We should be profiling, monitoring, and creating policies to fight the radicalization of white men.
Okay, so when you go to Ilhan's profile picture, you go to Ilhan's husband, you see her present day husband is a white man. So again, that is what is going on with the party. Here's James Carville again attacking Ilhan Omar over this.
Ilhan Omar says that white men are responsible for most of the deaths in the United States. So let me get this straight. 69% of the people, I'm stuck on that number, I don't know, but 69% of the people going to vote are white. Of that, 48.5 are males. So I don't know, my rough math is 33%. Let's go out and piss off 33% of the people that vote, and that's a smart strategy. And the people that agree with her. There are people that actually agree with her. And I think these, honestly, I think these people are more trouble than they're worth.
But you kind of said,
Ilhan Omar says that
these people are more trouble than they're worth. I mean, hey, that top Democratic strategist wants to kick out Ilhan Omar out of the party, right? Carville replied that Ilhan Omar, she might have some people that admire her, but she is attacking the biggest voting bloc, and this is going to cause a disaster for the Democrats. And this was during Stephen A. Smith, the clip that I played you guys, right? So let's go back to who this guy is, right? Who this guy is a very Trump deranged individual, right? Stephen A. was in shock when he heard James Carville.
Do you believe there is such a thing on the left as Trump derangement syndrome, which is what the right accuses people of? Do you believe that exists?
Can I say something to the people that accuse Democrats of having Trump derangement? No. I got it, and I got it bad, and I don't want to get better. I just want to get worse. Okay?
You want to get worse, James?
I don't think that I try to conjure up more distaste for him than I have when I wake up in the morning. It's really hard to do. But this is a condition that I'm not trying to get rid of.
Why not?
Make my disease worse.
Why not? Why, James? Why do you want to make the disease worse? Trump derangement syndrome. Why do you want to make that worse?
Because in my opinion, he doesn't like the United States. He doesn't like our laws. He doesn't like our allies. He doesn't like our treaties. He doesn't like the fact that we're an inclusive country that is built.
So again, you get my point. This is one of the top Democratic strategists and consultants who draws up plans for the Democrats to win in elections. This is the guy whose whole ideology is to hate Trump and wake up with Trump derangement syndrome. And he's praying for it to get worse. He's kicking out Ilhan Omar. He's urging for her to go. That's how bad the Democratic Party is. I just made a video about Democrats possibly, most likely about to lose in the 2028 elections, in the 2026 elections, and also new governmentship being Republican, right? So that whole side on the West Coast switching red because of how bad it has been are the Democrats, especially Gavin Newsom. So Democrats got a lot of problems, right? When it comes to their strategies and how they move forward. And how they move forward is this guy is saying we'll be better off without people like Ilhan Omar. But I think the party would be better off without Ilhan Omar and him. So now we go to, I think, the most important part. Nancy Mace recently went viral speaking about what's going on with Ilhan Omar, right? All these things have come out. All this research have come out about her immigration records, all these things, right? That people want their answers to, fraud and all of that. Here's what Nancy Mace had to say about that.
Congresswoman, where do we stand on the investigation into Ilhan Omar? Obviously, there's some, questions regarding her citizenship. She's been referred to the ethics committee. Can we trust the ethics committee to actually be ethical and do the right thing?
Well, what's happened so far? Like, really, I think the remark is always let the process play out, right? That's what they always say, and nothing never happens. I tried to subpoena her immigration records, her brother husband's immigration records, and it was Republicans that killed my motion.
Yeah, and what's going on with that? Do you have any more insight you can share on that?
As far as I know, nothing's going on, and nothing will go on. And that's Congress for you, because both sides protect the other.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing.
So there you go. Nancy Mace makes a huge announcement. It goes viral all over the place. Her basically breaking down that, hey, the ethics committee, right? Everybody, we have all these records. We have all these things that are supposed to be coming out or can come out. And yet nothing happens, right? Nothing happens at all when it comes to Ilhan or any Democrat, when it comes to insider trading, when it comes to all these things that have happened in Congress. Nothing has happened at all. So again, you have friction in the Democratic Party, but you also have friction between Republicans and Republicans, especially with somebody like Nancy Mace coming out and saying, hey, there's just nothing that we could do, right? Like House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer came out and said that, he just revealed Somali Representative Ilhan Omar's financial records are being investigated. But what happened with that, right? What happened with, her getting investigated for the ballooning of the net worth? It all just kind of went away. So Nancy Mace is saying, hey, Republicans are the ones really blocking this. So again, at this point, it looks like, and I don't want to get blackpilled on this stuff. Again, under the Trump administration, is very early. There's a lot of chaos because that's what the Democrats have created. They've created the chaos as far as what is chaotic versus what's not chaotic. They blew up the Epstein files, right? And I said that Trump administration did not help at all. You did the worst thing possible. You gave people binders. You said that you had all of this stuff on your desk and you didn't have the stuff on your desk, and Democrats had one. Democrats have this. So Democrats are really running with nothing as far as policies go, but as far as things that they can get away with, making it seem like something that's not. That's why people say, oh my God, this whole administration is chaotic. So Democrats, I don't think that they're winning, but I do think that statistically, by the statistical measures of the incumbent president, they usually win the midterms. They usually, whoever is in charge usually loses. That party loses the midterms. That's what it looks like. But there is big news about Democrats and how they feel about Ilhan, as they want to go into a less hatred party, less hating your own voter party. So there's a lot going on when it comes to that. So again, Democrats blowing up a lot of different little issues, making them bigger than what they really, really are. And people just finally, kind of falling for it. And that's when I break down Democrats and Republicans, that's one thing that Democrats do that they do very freaking well. But this one Ilhan Omar situation in the AOC, they have not done well. In fact, when you look at the statistics of who's actually up for running in 2028, they're going to lose that. Because their top poller, the person top polling right now, is Kamala Harris. Second to her is Gavin Newsom. Two disastrous people, in my opinion. So again, let me know what you guys think overall about all of this and more. Make sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one.